okay? I've been ripped off for thousands of dollars in repairs. And I had one guy who I thought was going to be legit. He did work on it, and the engine blew. He put another engine in it. There goes another few thousand. And these sensors keep failing, or they were failing before. Oxygen sensors, which are normally, 25, $50. He was supposed to have replaced the sensors on the new engine he just put in. Used engine, okay? Which means he probably didn't replace any of the sensors or anything. Just changed the oil. And of course, it won't start in the cold. Again, I put a little dry gas in the thing that almost full tank, 3/4 tank. I wait a day, it warms up, it's up to almost 60 now today. It was below zero a couple days ago. The car starts, but it's running like shit again, which has been doing off and on ever since I had this guy work on it. He shall remain nameless. So it's running like shit again. Engine light comes on. It wasn't on yesterday when I started it and filled up the tank. Get in today, it's engine lights on. I take it. Oh, you know what? These guys were supposed to. I go to one shop. They want $150 just to, run a diagnostic. Because the diagnostic you get out of car parts, all it shows you is a code. It doesn't show you a diagnostic. So this guy, I'm going back in here. He just ripped me off for $100. I call this a second shop, which I've been here before. It's a Mr. Tire. And the guy that usually does me right, he wasn't in there. So this other guy's in there with some young kid. And I even showed him the paperwork. It says it's an O2 sensor. But where fucking Cadillac puts it, GM, they've got it, the engine is, transverse. So they've got it on the inside, next to, basically under the firewall where you can't reach it. You basically, to work on that side, those 3 cylinders, you got to take the top of the engine off. I don't know how these guys got in there to get it out, but they didn't take the top of the engine off. Although they charged me $200 for labor. He said it was $100 for the diagnostic, and they would take that off the charge. Well, he says, "Oh, we're done. This is all it is." He charged me $233 for this. And you can get one OEM, GM, OEM, original manufacturer, for less than $100. A couple other places, they got them on the shelf. They're charging $100, $150. These cocksuckers got me for $223.17 for this fucking thing that I could have got for $50. But I couldn't put it in myself because of where it is. So he gives me this bill. $233 for the part, $200 for the labor, and I'm thinking it probably took him about 20 minutes to put it in, not 2 hours. Plus tax, $509 fucking dollars. And he didn't take the $100 off. So I'm going right back in. And I'm going to get at least my $100 back. Because these guys just fucking robbed me. Again. You can't find a legitimate auto repair. Everybody's a fucking thief. I had the Suburban worked on. The transmission went on it last year. Out of town, of course. When it's all said and done, I finally get it back to the shop I used to go to up here in Sunbury, Ohio, north of Columbus. This guy puts a brand new Jasper transmission into it, which, you know, it's like two grand more than just rebuilding at another shop. So I'm like, okay, new transmission, no more problems. No, I go out on the road again, down to Athens, of course, with a client. Fucker blows and overheats. He didn't pressure test. When you do that, you got it, because the way they design these fucking things, the transmission coolant goes into the radiator. It doesn't have its own little radiator like it should. They've got it built into the fucking radiator. So when that blows, you're supposed to rebuild the radiator, or replace the radiator, because it's bound to leak, which it did. So it's leaking fucking transmission fluid into the radiator, and it boils over, turns to fucking pink mush, and blows the fucking radiator and overheats the transmission. And the transmission was clunking and shit. And it's brand new. So I'm like, dude, I had to tow it all the way back to Columbus from Athens, Ohio. 100 fucking miles. So it's costing me more and more and more. So he's like, oh yeah, he puts the fucking radiator in. Then I go back because I'm hearing noise from the transmission. He's going, there's nothing wrong with that transmission. I'm like, dude, it's crunching. Then he checks the fluid, and it's down like a quart. I'm like, you just put this in. How could it be down? That means it's leaking into the goddamn, which it was. It was leaking into the goddamn coolant again. I'm about ready to fucking. So I'm like, dude, this Jasper guarantees this thing. Just replace it. They even sent one. He sits on it for a year. A fucking year. Oh, and no, it's not the transmission. He says, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting to the point. He says, oh no, that's the rear differential. I said, well, I just had that fucking rebuilt. So I take that to it's the shop that supposedly did the rear differential. And they're like, oh, that was a year and 3 months ago. There's only a year warranty. You only warranty a rebuilt differential for a year. Yeah. So they refuse. They go, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. I leave it there. I said, look, just inspect it. They say, there's nothing wrong with it. They didn't even open it up. They just parked the car. And they didn't charge. We're not going to charge you. Oh, well, great, because you didn't fucking do anything. So I take it back to this guy, this other guy that I thought was doing me right in Sunbury, Ohio. He's like, oh, no. He opens it up, and I'm watching him, and he's got some tool they use to measure, the gears in the rear differential. And the gears are fucking wobbling around in there. I'm like, these cocksuckers. He says, well, they're missing shims, blah, 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 this and that and the other thing. And I go, dude, just fix it. He doesn't replace the fucking parts. My battery is going out, of course. He doesn't replace the fucking parts. He just supposedly readjusts the gears. There goes another $300 or $400. I'm like, so I take it out. He drives it, but he drives it like a bat out of hell. And I'm like, dude, you got to take it. Because I get in, I start driving it, and it's going, boom, 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 boom. It's fucked up. I'm like, dude, make this right, Just make this fucking right, please. He refuses to do the transmission. So there's a brand new transmission sitting up there on the floor of his shop. I call Jasper. And they go, we'll replace that. Yeah. Why won't he do it? I don't know. So I go, I can take it somewhere else. They go, yeah, but you'll have to cover the cost until we can inspect it. because the other guys aren't going to do it, without being paid for the labor first. I'm like, okay, fine. Well, I don't get around to that because some other shit comes up. So the fucking rear differential's crunching. And then I get a check four-wheel drive system light. I take it back to the guy I take it back to the guy up in Sunbury, Ohio. I probably shouldn't even mention this, but I'm fucking sick to death of this whole thing. He parks it, he just left, he did that to me 2 or 3 times. He just leaves it sitting there for weeks. I'm like, dude, I need the car. I need the SUV for my business. I'm going broke, which I am. The phone has stopped ringing because of the influx of illegals driving Uber, and they've taken over the cab companies, and they've basically taken over the black car limo companies too. And people aren't booking, you know, they're doing it for next to nothing, and I cannot match the price. But I'm going to have to now. So it gets better. I'm just going to go ahead and tell everybody because nobody sees this. Phone rings one day about 2 weeks ago. And this is before the Cadillac stopped. The Cadillac just stopped the past week. It wouldn't start. And then these cocksuckers ripped me off for the Cadillac. So the phone rings a couple weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, limousine service. he says, this is Detective Smith from the Sunbury Police Department. Yeah. Well, we've got a situation here. He says, it appears that a gun that you traded for car work, which I did a year ago, the guy in Sunbury, I traded him a Glock for half of what the cost of all this goddamn car, repair work has cost me. A Glock 26. He says, Mr. Lucan, it appears that a Glock pistol that you traded for repair work was involved in an accidental death. Your gun, not my gun. I didn't answer any questions. It says your gun was involved in an accidental death, and the Delaware County prosecutor has some questions for you. He says you're not in any trouble, Mr. Luke, and I didn't talk to him. I even had an attorney say, and I know that don't talk to the cops. Let them do whatever they're going to do. Just don't. It's not my concern. Not my gun. Involved in an accidental death. And I'm like, well, oh, this is not a big deal. I said, so somebody got killed murdered with this gun that's no longer mine. So no, it's just accidental death. We just like to know if you had any problems with it. Did you have any problems with it jamming or misfiring? And right there, I was like, I got nothing to say. It's not, nothing to say. He goes, well, then the prosecutor may have no choice but to subpoena you, a grand jury subpoena. I'm like, not my concern. So I don't hear anything. And in the meantime, I did talk to an attorney. He says, I'm not representing you, but you know not to talk to the cops. I go, yeah. So I'm like, you can speculate. Somebody got killed with a gun that I traded for automobile repair. So I just let it go. I'm like, well, I'll just wait, keep checking my my mail, which is not where I live. And then the phone rings a few days ago, a couple, 3 days, 4 days, and I says, "Oh, this is Detective Smith again with the Sunbury Police Department." He says, "Mr. Lucan, I sent you a text." He sends me a text, that lists my gun and the serial number and all this other shit. And he says in the text that the mechanic, they found on the mechanic's phone numerous text messages and phone calls between myself and the mechanic. I'm like, he calls me, he says, well, says, I'm calling again about, I said, I have nothing to say. I'm not going to say a fucking thing on the phone. He goes, well, then Delaware County prosecutor has no choice but to subpoena. I go, whatever. So now I'm like, can it get any fucking worse for me? I immediately, luckily I've got a spare key for the Suburban, which was sitting over at this guy's shop. I'm not talking to him again. Never. I have no idea. Well, you can speculate, but I have no idea what happened. Nor do I want to know. Not my concern. Not my gun. So I zoom over there in a Lyft, an Uber. I grab my Suburban with my spare key and I get it the fuck out of there. Luckily, he had it parked outside, locked. And then I come back and I send him the last text. I said, plans have changed. Just drop the keys, because it's just the Suburban key and a clicker for the door lock. And I immediately changed that code. So I said, just drop that in the mail. Plans have changed, just drop it in the mail. He texted me back, which he never did before. He never answered his phone, never text. He says, hey, is everything okay? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Is everything okay? I didn't answer, and I'm not going to. So now I'm just going to sit back and wait for a goddamn grand jury subpoena. End of story. I'm not saying any more. I just have to unload. I told my nephews about this. That's the only people. I'm like, but you know what? This is so fucked up. This is so fucked up. Because now I most certainly cannot take the cars back to this guy, this mechanic, and say, fix this shit properly, will you? Because now I'm of the opinion that he was deliberately sabotaging shit, just like these guys. Something that should have cost me a couple $100 turns into 500. So I'm going right back in, and in fact, I'm just going to let this run. I want to pull it back there. This should be fun. Oh. Oh. Hey, I forgot all about it. When I talked to you on the phone, you said it was $100 for the diagnostic, and you would take it off the.
Yeah, I didn't charge you for the diagnostic at all. That's just part.
So it's $500 without the diagnostic. You're shitting me.
Because it calls for like an hour and a half to change that out.
Because you got
times 160. 165, I think it is. So yeah. Yeah, I just.
And I know you.
Because it would say diagnostic.
I know you can get the part cheaper, but you know, you guys are.
Yeah, that's.
You're retail.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't.
I didn't notice that.
Yep.
I'm just getting fucked in the ass all the way around. Don't worry about it. He didn't charge me for the diagnostic. I think you did. Because the part alone should have been $100 less. So, anyway, I got fucked. What are you gonna do, you know? I used to be able to do this kind of shit myself. I used to be able to work on all kinds of things. I could tear down an engine. I could have taken the manifold off and gotten to this sensor where GM Cadillac put it where you can't fucking reach it. You know, $25 part. I tell you, we are getting so screwed. If the White House doesn't do something about this kind of shit, you know, I want to see the cost of living come way down. I want to see the price of gas come down to, you know, less than $1 a gallon where it should be. I want to see my business restored because fucking SBA, the government, first of all, fucked me and everybody else twice. When I was in LA and I was going like gangbusters with car service that I just started, I was making money hand over fist, you know. And then they pulled the banking thing, pulled that bullshit where they gave mortgages to poor people and then blamed it on the poor people that the entire world's economy just crashed. I'm like, these cocksucking Zionists. It's one of the Zionists. It's these motherfucking Jew bastards who own everything. They've been planning this for 300 years. Read the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. Okay, it's a document that came out in the 1890s. You say, oh, they're anti-Semitic. Well, no, the Semites are Arabic. 95%, 98% of the today's Ashkenazi Jews are from Europe, and they are of Caucasus Mountains descent. They did a DNA. They did a test of what's it called? The genome project. Yeah, it was their own genome project, and it proved that modern Jews are most closely related to the Kurds, the Kurdish peoples to the north of Iraq. That's where they came from. Not Israel, not Hebrews. They have almost no connection. But they're the smartest boys in the room. They're the smartest guys on the planet. And in 300 years, they've managed to seize control of the entire world. And now they're ratcheting it down. And I don't think Trump and the White House, no matter what they do, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the game. They're not going to be able to put a stop to any of this. We're being thrown a bone like they do every few years. You know, they let the Marxists fuck shit up, then they bring the fucking warmongers back in, and then, you know, they're all working for the same guys. I'm not saying I'd do it, but I wouldn't be brokenhearted if a meteor came down and leveled Washington D.C., you know, and the inner city of London, not London itself, but the city of London is the home of the banking cartel. That and you know, maybe just parts of Israel, Palestine, I should say. You know, like just the Knesset. Is that the name of the satanic? It's not even Satan. It's they call him the light bringer. You know, they call him Lucifer, but it's not even that. It's Nikola Tesla identified it. I'm gonna let it go after this. Nikola Tesla identified it. He said he never discovered anything. It was put in his brain by this machine mind that he basically achieved nirvana just like Buddha and possibly Jesus. He said he carried on conversations with it, that he would pass out for a half an hour and wake up with a machine in his mind. Tell the machinist, make this part, make that part, put it together and the fucking thing worked. You know, that's where all the modern day information came from. So this machine mind is what they refer to as, you know, the bringer of knowledge. It's some kind of a storehouse of human knowledge, and it exists in the electromagnetic field like a big computer. So, uh, Hitchhiker's Guide isn't far off. The Earth is a computer, and it has this sentient thing in it that feeds us knowledge and has been influencing us because it can't physically move a pencil. It can't even really affect the weather. It's trapped, hence the old tales. It's trapped in the electromagnetic field. It's in prison. Whatever put it there, you know, some kind of war in heaven, 12,800 years ago, it's become apparent just since 2007, actually, that the Earth, there was some sun activity, stirred up all the comets and space debris, and the Earth got pummeled 12,800 years ago. For about 1,000 years, things were just hitting and just wiping everything out. All the megafauna, most of the humans, the ones that survived, were sent back to the Stone Age, but a certain amount of knowledge survived. Like the pyramids, the pyramid, the main pyramid, it's probably 20,000 years old, not 6 or 7. And we've only learned all of this since 2007. We've also learned, they said, well, they're all wrong about the universe. The James Webb Telescope has suddenly revealed something's going on. That, you know, these vast galaxies are clear, you know, they're more than 13 billion miles away, or whatever it is. Light years. Not miles, billions of light years. So they don't know how. The reason scientists they're not, you know, they're just voodoo doctors. Their mathematics do not actually work. Every time they have to plug in something to make it work. Say, oh, this doesn't work. I'll just put this, take this little thing here and put it into the equation. Oh, look, it sort of works. So everything is a lie. Then I just saw recently, they show you these beautiful pictures of space. You know, these it's so beautiful. You know, how can a star system, how can a supernova, how can a cloud of dust and gas out there look so beautiful? That's because they've been faking it. It's it's been faked. I just saw a guy who he had access to the original images from the not just from Hubble but from the James Webb Telescope, and you can't see anything. You know, it's almost black, but they enhance it. You know, just like everything, they got to lie about it. They put color into it. They pop it. You know, they sharpen it up. If something doesn't look right, they change it. So all of those images you see of space are faked, just like the images of Earth. Oh, that's the Earth. The astronauts took pictures of that. No, they didn't, because the guy who worked for NASA came out and said, "I I made all those up. You look close at them, you'll see the clouds are repeated. It's like somebody just cut and paste back in the day, from the 70s till now. Somebody was just making this shit up. They show you images, the maps, they're all wrong. Say, well, Greenland, wow, that's huge. That's big as the United States and Canada together. No, it's a fraction of that size. It's about the size of Texas. Still big, but it's not that massive because they're using the Mercator fucking map. It's a orange peel that they've cut and faked. Everything is bullshit, Everybody's robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm going broke and I have no recourse because the government has fucked me twice. I went off on a tangent on that. So they put everybody out of business back when I was in Los Angeles, 2009, 2010, when they pulled that bullshit. That's when they first got us for trillions. They held us hostage basically. Congress caved in for a few million, and now they're supposedly weeding out the people that have been selling us out, but I doubt it. And then recently here they did it to us again. I had a bed and breakfast that was functioning, and a car service was paying some bills. I was in a big log cabin down in Athens, Ohio, near the university, and the business was just starting to take off. And they pulled the rug out from under everybody again. Just fucked everybody in the ass. And everything shut down. The university shut down. Nobody was traveling. This fake COVID thing. And people were putting on masks. I was down to, everything that I had, I put into storage, which I couldn't move for like 2 years. I ended up in a rat hole fucking hotel, and I had like 1 month's rent in my pocket. So I had to go begging to the SBA when they finally got around to saying, "Oh, we're gonna bail you out. We're gonna help small business." Well, no, they fucked us. They gave billions. Still, billions were stolen. Just disappeared. They still can't say where it went. And they threw a few thousand at guys like me just to keep the landlords paid. Now these jokers, $500 fucking dollars for a $25 sensor. Fuck me. So I'm waiting on the Delaware County prosecutor to send me a grand jury subpoena. Welcome to my world.